Thank you.
Okay, and as soon as Jeff joins us, Janelle, you will be relieved of your duties, and Jeff.
Yeah, and I guess I would just say, in terms of calling the roll, it appears that President Rabbi Karp, Richard Pecora, Michael Guster, Ruby Batimana, Ethelene Boyd, Janelle Swanberg, and we are awaiting Jeff Transu. So we've got 6 of the 7 present.
Okay.
There he is.
Here he is. Where is he? Hi.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi,
Welcome to the
sorry,
party.
everybody. We're all trying to get on here a different way today. Okay.
Okay. So Jeff, we just taken the roll. You know, Janelle was going to substitute for you until you got here, but
Okay.
what you have to do is to do the roll call. So, and everybody's here. So, yeah,
Okay.
take over your responsibilities.
Okay. Ruby made it on.
What?
Ruby made it on too. Okay.
I'm here.
Ruby is on.
Okay. All right.
But Ruby's sitting in the hospital in Iowa City, getting in a car, driving. So she's asked me to preside over the meeting.
Yes.
Okay. So the first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Okay. Anybody have any any comments on the agenda?
I move that the agenda be approved.
Okay, and then we got a second for that?
Second?
Okay, been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye, raise your hands, whatever.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good, all right. Now we go to the approval of the minutes. You bring up the minutes? These are the minutes of the June meeting. Everybody got a chance to read them?
I just had a question. In the report of the director, I think in the 3rd paragraph, or the 4th paragraph, if you count that first one, it says there, Commissioner Karp, at the end of that paragraph, it says, Commissioner Karp made a motion seconded by Commissioner Guster for a document to be made and sent to the city. All commissioners approved. I don't think we did that. And I think I went back and listened or watched the video, and I think our director correctly pointed out that since this was within her report, that we could not make any motions or vote on anything. And in fact, we kind of dealt with that issue in the new business under Commissioner Communication. So I kind of think we should delete that Commissioner Karp made a motion and all commissioners approved. I think we should delete those 2 sentences. Jeff, does that sound right?
Yeah, that could be. I might have been mixed up about where we were. You said it was under new business instead of where it was.
Well, I
like
think I think you correctly spelled out in the new business section. Well, at first I think Rabbi Karp wanted to make a list of sort of grievances and send those to the city. And then I think Mike said, well, let's have several commissioners meet with the city administrator, and then we can take it from there. And so I think that is what is set forth in the 2nd paragraph of the new business section A, or section B, rather, section B.
It's under section B.
I mean, it's Commissioner Communication A, and then it's the 2nd paragraph, where we constituted the 2 little ad hoc committees to discuss with the city administrator, and then Ethelene and I to work with our director and our chair. Do people recall it that way?
Well, yeah, we decided that that, Mike Guster, Jeff Transel, and I would work with the city administrator.
E1.
And I think that, and you, and Ethelene, and you, Janelle, and I believe wasn't Mike Guster also part of that group?
No, just the two of us.
Just the two of you would,
As it's provided there. So I think in terms of the minutes, I think if we just take out those two sentences from the report, I think we'll be good.
Okay, in the second paragraph under A,
what you need to take out is in the director's report, where it says, up above.
Yeah, what's highlighted, that's correct. I would think that should be deleted because we did not do that.
I'm not in the same spot here. Here we go. Okay, and now I'm seeing it. Okay. Okay, I've omitted that. I'll change that.
That was the only change I had.
I move for the approval of the minutes with the changes.
Who seconded that?
Mike.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye, raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so now we go to the director's.
Mhm.
Okay. I don't think we had a lot to go on last month. We did have a public hearing for an education case involving allegation of disability discrimination. We had our first push-out session at the park, the movie at the park event. We learned that having the movie outside prior to sunset impacts the quality of it. So we have had to push the other sessions back to later in the day. So we have one coming up this Thursday, July 15th at Veterans Memorial Park in Bettendorf. And that one's going to be at 7:30. We're going to have a discussion that starts at 7:30, and the movie is going to start at 8:30. That way it'll be dark enough for the screen to be visible. So everyone's invited, and share the word on that. We had a CLE on APHIS and the impact that they have on legal processes and how they impact access to justice. I actually had another meeting that I had to attend at the same time, so I wasn't able to attend, but we have it recorded and so it's available to attorneys if they want to access it after the fact, to have it as a recorded CLE that they can access the credit. But I think we had like 50-something registrants. And I think that there were about 40 people who attended. So we had a good turnout. It was like kind of a lunch and learn session.
Remind me what a CLE and an ACE is.
continued legal education and aids with our adverse childhood experiences.
Okay.
There's an error here. That looks like that put something back in from the last month's report. I'll have to edit that. We are continuing to monitor COVID. I met with staff, and we think that based on individual circumstances, it will probably be best to continue what we're doing now, and then just continue to monitor the status here locally. Numbers are a little, I don't know, they're odd, but the CDC vaccination rate and the Iowa Department of Public Health vaccination rate are different. I'm not sure why the numbers don't reflect the same thing. And with the variants that we're seeing here in Iowa, it seems like it would be best for us to continue to require masks and social distancing and limiting that in-person contact. So just continue to do what we're doing now. If someone needs an accommodation and needs to meet in person, then we, work that out on a case-by-case basis. We're continuing to work on scheduling the session for the equity and bias in government decision making and how that impacts workplace decisions, but also community-based decisions, things like zoning, housing decisions, where investment is made, that kind of thing. And I've been asked to give a presentation on kind of government decision making from the Davenport perspective. So I'll be one of the presenters at our upcoming event. For the old business, the kind of ongoing bullying, harassment of commission staff, I met with Commissioners Boyd and Swanberg about the communication issue with the chair, and I met with Commissioners Guster and Chauncey regarding the issue with city staff. And one thing that, an update, I guess, since I spoke to everyone, I have been out of the office due to some deaths in my family. I filed a complaint with the Iowa Public Information Board against Mallory Hoyt because the June 1st letter that I sent her requested public records, and I did not get a response to it. And in the response submitted by Brian Heyer, he alleges that my letter of June 1st was not a public records request. It was simply a response to Mallory Hoyt's email to the commissioners, which would indicate that Mallory Hoyt was well aware that the response was not a reply to her FOIA request. He also indicates that public records requests are only valid if they are submitted through the clerk's office, and that is who handles public records requests and responses, which would also indicate that Mallory Hoyt was aware that the letter that I sent her was not a response to her public records request. So the response to my complaint indicates exactly what I perceived, which was that the complaint was merely an effort to engage in bullying and harassment. For new business, I was contacted by Beth while I was out that we got a settlement agreement signed by the legal department and Mike Malloy, where they agreed to pay, I guess, most of his bill and apparently there's a perception that this should come out of our budget for this year, even though this was a billing statement that was submitted in 2019, I think. So that, first of all, I don't know how the legal department could sign an agreement with Mike Malloy to agree to pay something out of the commission's budget. That would, to me, indicate that if they're signing an agreement to settle with him, that would be something that would come out of the risk fund, not out of our funds. And it is also interesting that the commission was not consulted by the city on signing this agreement. I certainly was not contacted. So this was done kind of outside of me. And I just got back in the office yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to talk to anybody about it, but that's just an update on that issue. So I guess that they have resolved that, and there's some agreement to pay them. I'm not sure how that's going to be handled. I think that's all I have.
Okay. Any questions about the director's report?
So, Madam Director, is the number 16 worked on litigation? Is that where your response to the FOIA and the Public Information Board, is that where you worked on those?
No, we have ongoing cases involved in litigation, such as our public hearing. We have a current appeal pending.
So, but you did reply to both those things, right?
Yes.
But that's not on here?
No. Perhaps they could be listed under the ongoing bullying and harassment.
No, I just think it's good for your list of your activities to be as complete as possible. I mean,
Goodbye.
would be on the list. Thanks.
Any other questions about the director's report? Okay, then I think we already move on to the next item on the agenda.
I would move the acceptance of the director's report.
Oh, yes. Very good, thank you.
Mr. Vice Chair.
I second it.
All in favor, say aye. Raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now we can move on to the next section of the agenda, new business. And the first on that section is commission meetings. We have discussed this in the past, but now it's time for us to have what should be at least a timely discussion and perhaps a decision, which of course is going to be ultimately limited by situationally as whichever way the pandemic goes or whichever way we decide. Okay, it has been recommended that it is time for us as a commission to return to in-person meetings.
Who's recommending?
Who's recommending? We've discussed previous meeting.
Oh.
Okay, so now it's time for us to discuss whether or not we should be returning to in-person meetings.
Rabbi Cott, but who recommended it though? Was it a particular person on the commission that recommended it, or was it who actually requested it?
I have to go back in the minutes to see if it was, but it was recommended, and that's why it's on the agenda now. You know, you have to, you just can't bring it up at the meeting, new business. You have to say, I'd like to see us discuss this issue, and then it will be on the next month's agenda.
Okay, I don't have any doubt that it was brought up, but I don't. I know that we had a discussion and we moved it to this particular meeting
Okay.
for this discussion, but I guess we're just playing with words. That's all.
Yeah, we're playing. I mean, yeah. Since we had the discussion and we moved it to this meeting's agenda, I don't think it matters who recommended it. It might have been me for all I know. I don't remember whether I did or not. But it's put on the agenda now. It's time for us to talk about the pros and the cons and make a decision as to whether or not we're ready to move back to in-person meetings.
So can someone tell me what the vaccination rate for the city of Davenport or Scott County is?
That was the numbers that I was referencing that are different. The CDC says it's 47% for Scott County, but the Iowa Department of Public Health says that it's 41.4% for Scott County. So I'm not sure which one is the correct number, but both of them are low.
This is Ruby. Scott County is currently at 52%.
Ruby, which data are you reading from?
Scott County information.
Courthouse Scott County Health or?
Scott County Health, yes.
Okay.
I don't think that's accurate. I just looked this morning at these numbers.
Well, I would say that reading the news.
Welcome to Zoom.
What we see
Enter
is
your
this
meeting ID
variant
followed by pound.
is climbing, and there's some people are very cautious. I would say that we ought
Enter
to
your
begin,
participant ID
we
followed
get
by
back
pound.
in-person
Otherwise,
meetings,
just press pound
when
to continue.
we have a clearer understanding of
You are in the meeting now.
what the
There are
situation is,
15
at least what I'm
participants
reading,
in the meeting.
is that
This
the
meeting
new
is
Delta
being recorded.
variant, if that's what they call it,
is climbing, and we're not out of the woods yet.
No, we won't be out of the woods until later. I mean, as long as a lot of people are refusing to get vaccinations, we're going to be on that boat. A regular pandemic usually lasts about 18 months. And again, you can't really control what other people do. But I've been to the city hall, for meetings. You can wear masks if you want to. A lot of people don't. I guess it just depends on your own risks.
I guess I would like to see us, if we do go to in-person meetings, I would like to see us continue to have an option for commissioners and staff and the public to attend via Zoom, if that would be possible. I think that would be, I think for at least a while, I think it would be good to continue to have that option.
I agree.
I think we should continue meeting as we are for now, with being where we are with everything, and anticipating the change in season and the things that might happen because of that. I have damaged lungs. I've inhaled anhydrous ammonia, and so my lungs are bubbly. And so I take a more precautious outlook.
I think either we decide to go face to face or not. I mean, I don't think if we say yes that and everybody's going to be required to be there. Again, we'll I think it's important, like what Janelle said, to have that option of, still have the Zoom available for those who cannot be in there face to face. I understand, I have somebody in a family with chronic conditions, so I am also careful, but I'm also aware that we're able to do it safely if we choose to.
I would say that I don't feel comfortable being in person, and I don't think that we have the capacity to have staff running both an in-person and a virtual meeting. I think that library has a setup where people can be present in person and participate via Zoom, but you would need someone running it on both sides. So,
if I remember correctly, and Janelle, you were chair at the time, but correct me if I'm wrong, that the commission in the past had approved the idea of the concept of holding our commission meetings in the city council chamber. Move it out of the office and into the city council chamber. I know that I've attended meetings electronically with the city council and that were held in the city council chamber that were also in person. So there is that capacity. The city has that capacity to do both, unless I'm mistaken.
I think they were doing go-to meetings, not Zoom, and go-to meetings was not accessible the last time I checked.
Not accessible to who?
Pursuant to the Rehabilitation Act, which we are required to follow, they were not compliant.
So you're saying the city is not in compliance with the open meetings law?
I'd say that the last time that I looked at their sheet for accessibility, they were not in compliance with the Rehab Act.
And has anything been done to challenge the city because of its failure to comply with the law?
I'm not sure what they've done about that.
Hey guys, I'm looking at data as of 13 July, as it reflects for each county within our Scott County vaccination rate is at 41.56%. And I can tell you guys, I like to deal with facts and data and not opinions. And just because somebody else is doing something, that doesn't make it right. And when it comes to safety, I myself need to look at what is not being done versus what is being done, or is there a deficit, a negative in what we are not being able to accomplish here right now? Because when you take the Delta variant in consideration, this thing, there's a lot of unknowns about it. And guys, I just don't want to rush back in and meet with folks just to be doing something, to satisfy somebody's appetite or to satisfy somebody else's desire to have us in one place. It has to be based upon something that is relevant to what we are doing and what we need to do to accomplish our mission. So I'll be quiet with that, but I can tell you as of right now, I am against the in-person meeting unless somebody can tell me what we are not doing, what we are not accomplishing by meeting by Zoom.
Well, one thing we're not accomplishing by meeting by Zoom is that there are many people in our community who do not have access to the internet and cannot attend a Zoom meeting, but they can attend an in-person meeting. And that is why, for example, when we held our two community meetings on policing reform, even though we held it on Zoom, the mayor insisted that we also have a link to the city council chamber so that people who cannot participate on a Zoom meeting could participate by being in present. And that was during the midst of the pandemic. Now, I mean, we're at a point in the pandemic now where it's very likely that our county numbers are not going to go up on vaccination because it's very likely that those who are not vaccinated, those who are going to be vaccinated, have been vaccinated, and those who are not vaccinated, most of them are not vaccinated because of health conditions prohibiting vaccination, such as immunosuppression diseases, or because they have actively chosen, for whatever their reason, not to get vaccinated, and they're not going to get vaccinated in the future. So if we're looking just at those statistics, we'll never meet again in person. And the dark side of that is the only way we will get to meet again in person with those statistics is that a significant number of those who have not been vaccinated literally die of the disease. And right now, the hospitalization rate is that over 90% of those who've been hospitalized for COVID are people who are dying of COVID, numbers which are climbing, but no, over 90% of those people are not vaccinated. So I mean, there comes a point where you have to move on. I mean, there's in-person dining. There's going to be in-person school in the fall. The CDC tells us that if you've been fully vaccinated, that a worst case scenario is that you might contract the Delta, the Delta strain, but it would not would hardly ever hospitalize you, if ever, and the chances of dying from it are rather small, if not infinitesimal. Our new reality is that we are truly a divided nation on this issue of vaccination and the pandemic. Yeah, and that's not going to change.
Hey, Henry, let me just say that I hear everything that you're saying. And once again, I will say this very clearly. When you talk about people wanting to join this meeting or participate in this meeting, let's make the sit and make the their room available each time we have a meeting there and stuff.
We do that now.
Okay, and also the other thing is that, while I really don't have a problem with the people that are vaccinated, the thing is, you said the CDC said I might get sick and there's a slim chance I might die. Well, let me just tell you, I don't want to deal with that slim chance because there are so many things that are happening that the medical people don't know. And so, guys, let me just tell you, you know, if you don't have to do something, why do it?
Yeah.
If it's not deficient, why do it? If it's not causing a detriment to the mission, why do it? So that's my premise to this thing. And so, you know, just because somebody wants to do it doesn't make it right. And I'm not going to spell out what my health concerns are to anybody and try to use it as a justification not to, because I'm going to abide and do what we vote on. But don't come and tell me, guys, and I want to be very clear about this here, about when we talk about what CDC puts out, because I get the same information and I track it daily because I care about those who I come in contact with, and I'm concerned about those that are not vaccinated. So to tell me that this is not going to get better, or it's going to get better, or we can't worry about that, let me just tell you, Mike Guster, as far as I'm concerned, that doesn't make any sense to me. So, guys, that's my assessment in terms of what we are trying to do here, and I'll be quiet for a moment.
I want to agree with Mike, and I want to make a motion that next meeting be a virtual meeting.
I'll second that.
The motion on the floor that the next meeting be a virtual meeting. Anybody second it?
I second it.
Okay. So let's vote. All in favor?
Oh, can we have any discussion?
Oh, sure. Let's have some more discussion. Can we have discussion?
I just have a question. So does this mean, since the motion is just for the next meeting, does this mean that we're going to have this on the agenda every meeting and kind of decide on a month-by-month basis how it'll go? Richard, is that your intent?
Well, yeah, because I think
I'm just asking. I'm not asking for justification.
Yes, I would assume that we would make a determination on a month-to-month event.
Okay.
Based upon the latest information that we have at hand.
Okay. Thank you.
And Rabbi Karp, to address your concern regarding people not being able to participate, they can obviously participate through the library, but if they contact the office to say that they don't have a way to participate, we have a phone that we can put in the commission's meeting room where they can call in from there and participate.
Any further discussion?
It's Ruby. So if we're gonna have this on a monthly basis on the agenda, are we thinking something's gonna change in a month's time?
Nothing changes. It's a very quick vote. Or to continue with virtual meetings or go to in-person. If nothing has changed, and the way that this pandemic has been going is that we can have dramatic changes within any given month. So I guess that's, the length of discussion will not be as long as this one, because I think we have discussed the foundation principles and arguments about virtual meetings versus in-person meetings. So it becomes, are we ready for in-person meetings? Yes, no, up, down. And why?
I call the question.
Well, I think Mike and Richard provided their input. What about the others?
Well, I know at my work, we're still required to wear masks but I work right with people in their homes. And we haven't been in the past even allowed to take people in public inside, like the mall or a store. We're allowed to go to parks and outside. Now recently I'm getting messages even from my company that, oh no, we can take them here and there. I don't know, but I have not been wearing a mask when I'm not at work lately, but I am thinking about doing it again because of all of this talk on the news now about Iowa is in red now, along with Missouri and some other states. And I saw the 41%. That's what I saw on the news. But I don't know. I have been going without my mask so far in public, but I am not going to a lot of things, that are crowded. I don't go to bars or like crowded places, but I mean, if we had a meeting in person, I would wear a mask. That's what I would do. I mean, I don't mind having one, but I would wear a mask. But if the majority, don't want to have it in person, I understand because, but I've been working with a mask for a year and a half now, and I have to have it on for 7 hours, so I'm used to it, but a lot of people are not. And a lot of people have trouble breathing with them. So, but that's just my story, And
I know, Janelle, you called the question, but I think it's important that anyone who wants to have a say on this issue speak up.
Sure, no, that's fine.
Is there anybody else who wishes to speak?
I would have things remain as they are.
Okay. So are we ready for a vote? Okay, then let's vote. All in favor of continuing with Zoom meetings, say aye.
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 Okay. Any dissent? Okay, then we will continue next, as per Richard's motion. We will, the next meeting, next monthly meeting will be on Zoom. And I assume that all other commission meetings between now and next monthly meeting will also be on Zoom. Okay. Then let's move on to commission.
Hey, Rabbi Cobb,
Sure.
that was not in the motion. The motion was about our meeting.
That was but it was about our meeting.
About our monthly meeting.
about our meetings, but but do we need to define what our meetings are? Are our meetings only our monthly commission meetings, or are they other subcommittee meetings as well?
I'm not gonna get into a back and forth about it, but the motion said nothing about meetings in between. It said our next monthly meeting.
Okay.
So, but anyway, and you added some verbiage to that, so I was just.
All right, Mike. Let's make short work of this. Okay. The motion that was passed was our next monthly meeting. Okay. I'd like to make another motion that all other business meetings of the commission, by subcommittees or what have you, between now and next month's meeting, also remain on Zoom.
So you're saying now that the ones that we have to go to the city, that we're going to do that one on Zoom as well? Is that what we're trying to get to?
Well, I mean, I think we need to be consistent, don't you?
How about this? How about if we, when we set a meeting, we can decide the format. I mean, if there's a special meeting between now and our August regular meeting, we can decide the format at the time that meeting is set. Does that work?
I guess what I'm trying to figure out here, are we talking about a special meeting, or are we talking about committee meetings? Because that's what I'm thinking Rabbi Kopp is talking about here, is committee meetings of 3 members or more, or less, as well and stuff. And so,
Yeah.
you know, so, and I want to be very clear where we're at.
Yeah, and that's included in what I'm talking about, because I believe that if we're making a decision that we shouldn't be meeting in person, that we should only be meeting on Zoom because of the safety issues, the health issues, because of the statistics of the county, then my motion is, then should we not be operating consistently when we are conducting the business of the commission between monthly meetings?
See, the other piece that I deal with also, when I went home, if the CDC also says that if everyone else has been fully vaccinated, you are free to take your mask off and communicate with them. In a public setting, I don't know who has been vaccinated. And so that's my rationale for where we are at with the meeting by Zoom. So, you know, if a commission by itself, if we're in one room and all of us have been vaccinated, that's a different story. So, but go ahead and do what you want to do. I don't want to play games with anybody, guys. And I'm accustomed to saying exactly what's on my mind, and I would tell anybody, anywhere, any place, that particular a point of view. I will make a point of view about it. So, and I'm not trying to be nasty or anything, and I'm just trying to be as professional as I can. And so, and I just don't want somebody shoving something down my throat that's not necessary.
And I'm trying to understand if between now and next meeting, we'll be having a subcommittee, a 3-person mediation team meet with our subcommittee and meet with our director and our chair. I'm trying to see how, you know, what that does in terms of the motion.
Well, yeah, I would assume your subcommittee, if you're following Janelle's suggestion, your subcommittee would choose to meet exclusively on Zoom.
Well,
yeah.
My comments to the commission, I had comments that Commissioner Janelle and I needed to share with you about the 3-person mediation team that's been established and is making plans for. They've had a phone conference and they've mapped out an approach for mediation that's simple and effective. And so they'll want to meet with, they'll want to meet again, and then they'll want to meet with Commissioner Janelle and I, and then with the director and chair, and then all of us together with an outcome that will foster more team spirit and teamwork. So I don't know how, you know, I don't want to affect what they are planning to do.
Let me ask you a question, Evelyn. Are all of the people involved in those meetings that you're talking about, are they all vaccinated?
Are they all vaccinated, you say?
Yes.
I assume because one is a pastor with his congregation and one is a lawyer that I see in court, and the other is a professional mediator. So I've met with each in person.
How about this as a proposal, that if there are, if there are subcommittee meetings, smaller meetings, as long as, if it's a 3-person committee and if all 3 of those people want to meet in person and they don't have any problem meeting in person, I would think they could meet in person. As long as no one is required to participate in person when they don't want to, I think we're fine. And it may be that none of us meets in person because none of us wants to. Would that work?
Well, we don't know whether other participants beyond the 3 people are vaccinated or not. And
Well, that's up to the people meeting to decide whether they want to take that risk, it would seem to me. But, I think we're talking about small meetings here. And again, if the people involved want to meet in person and do that voluntarily, I don't see anything wrong with that, as long as no one's being required to attend in person if they don't want to. Is that okay?
as far as I'm concerned, people make their own choices. Yeah, I just think that we should be consistent, but I will support that recommendation.
Well, I think in a way we are being consistent, because I think what we're saying with respect to the monthly meetings is there are some people who are not comfortable meeting in person. So we're going to say that virtual meetings trump a fully in-person meeting. That, if anybody doesn't, if there's a committee and if one person doesn't want to meet in person, the committee is not going to meet in person. Or that person can be reached on the phone, I guess. I mean, I don't think this needs to be any more complicated than people's wishes need to be, need to be followed.
Okay, so so if there's consensus on this, we don't have to make this a vote. Since it's going to be at the option of the members of whatever subcommittees, we'll be meeting between meetings. If there's consensus on this, then we can move on. Is there anyone who disagrees with?
Sounds like a winner to me.
What? Mike?
Sounds like a winner to me.
Okay. Anybody else want to comment on this? Then that's the way it's going to be. The subcommittees will choose for themselves whether, they will be in person or on Zoom or virtual. We should leave it as virtual.
Yeah, so that we can meet over the phone.
Yeah.
Okay, is there a motion on that, or are we?
No, we're just, since it's going to be the choices of the subcommittees, I don't think it needs to be a motion. It doesn't need to be a rule. I mean, it just needs to be a procedure.
Yeah.
Okay, are we ready to move on to the next item, which is the director's salary step increase? Now Latrice, you want to talk about that?
That's the annual increase. The commission has to vote on mine, but other staff gets theirs automatically.
I so move that the step increase that for the director be approved by the commission.
I second the motion.
Any discussion?
How much is it?
I'm not sure.
It's the regular.
I'm not going to vote for a pay increase where we don't even know how much it is.
It's a regular step increase that every other person within the city of Davenport receives right along with their appraisal or whatever and stuff. And so
we haven't had an appraisal, number one. And number two, I don't know what the amount is. I can't support this.
Well, Richard, one thing about it and stuff, if we haven't done an appraisal, it's time for her to get her raise, and you haven't brought an appraisal up prior to this particular point. And so I would think that we would give her raise, and every other city department head gets theirs. So what makes this any different? It's not like it's something that you can go and hang your hat on and drive and buy you a ticket to Las Vegas and spend a week out there. That's for sure.
Maybe it would help if we could have a kind of a definition of what is a step increase. I imagine it's cost of living plus.
Yes, something like that. Yeah, it goes up.
Yeah, it's cost of living. If it's and if it's cost of living plus is therefore is it up to the commission to determine how much plus?
No, it's a set amount that they have in a schedule.
That the city has in a schedule?
Yes.
What is that amount?
I don't know. I don't have it in front of me, but it's a set thing that they have. So everybody gets theirs automatically, but mine has to be voted on.
Do you guys, this is Ruby, do you guys just want me to ask if that's what we're wanting to see?
We had a full discussion on this last year, and
if this is a standard of the city and that everyone is going to be getting that same amount for plus, cost of living will be standard across the board, and if the increase above the cost of living is also standard above the board across the board, but a standard percentage, then I'm in favor of. I haven't got a problem with granting this raise.
Yeah.
But if it floats from department to department, where
I'm in the middle of a meeting.
it determines what that percentage is, then I think we need to talk about that.
A set fee, guys, based upon a table within the city's step increase rate. It's very similar to what the step increase rate for the federal level, and it's a no-brainer. And I just find it really. We didn't have any problem with this last year, and so why do we have to have this discussion about a few dollars?
Well, and I say, Michael, you made the motion and it's been seconded, so let's just vote on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's just vote. I mean,
Okay.
Call the question.
All right, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed?
Opposed. We
I
don't
would
know how much
abstain.
it is.
We have, anybody, yeah. All right, we heard Richard's opposed. Anybody else opposed?
I abstain.
Ruby abstains.
Ruby abstains, okay.
Okay. So it passes. Okay. Now to old business. When last we met, I reported to the commission that Ruby and I had a meeting with Mayor Matson to discuss, how there could be more progress in our policing reforms recommendations. And the only one that there seemed to be any openness to, and Ruby, please correct me if I'm wrong, was the question of, was the recommendation about the filing of complaints, reforming the system of the filing of complaints. And the mayor was open to a system similar to the one that's in the Des Moines, the Des Moines policing reforms law that was part of our recommendation, where one of the avenues that a citizen could file a policing complaint, was through the Civil Rights Commission. Our concern was in making the initial recommendation was that the reports that we received from our community research indicated that there were those out in the community who were reticent to file legitimate police reports about police misconduct for fear of police retribution. And the mayor made it clear that, obviously anonymous reports, were, it's hard for them to take seriously anonymous reports. However, if a report is given to the Civil Rights Commission, and we know who the person is who filed the report, that the police would take that more seriously. While we would not necessarily be obligated to reveal to the police the identity of the person who filed it. Ruby, am I off on any of that?
Not off. I think that the idea is, if there is, for the police department to follow up on something, they need more information than what's being reported. And if a community member is not comfortable in, going straight to the police department, we could also be, an avenue for that.
So the question before us is, are we willing and interested in taking on that role? And
we already do that.
Well, you do that. We don't.
So you're suggesting that people submit complaints directly to the commissioners?
I'm suggesting that people submit complaints to the commission, and the commission review those complaints, and that it come from the commission. And that if the police doesn't, if we find that the police are not taking those reports seriously coming from us, although the mayor has claimed that it would coming from the commission, it would have additional weight. And that we carry that forward. That we stand for the people who entrust us with their complaints.
I think that really the process, when they bring it and file it with the Civil Rights Commission now, it's the same effect. I mean, when I think about the training that each one of us as commissioners would probably need in order to sort or be able to deal with these things, I guess I'm a little hesitant to change the flow of it. And I guess I would have to be convinced as to what is wrong with the flow of information or the flow of filing a complaint with this office at this time.
Latrice, is it not true that, and correct me if I'm wrong, that when a complaint against a police officer is filed with our office, that complaint isn't it forwarded to the Iowa Civil Rights Commission and we don't deal with it?
Unless the person asks us to. So what we would do is the police department usually sends people over to our office to file, and we would assist them in filing an internal affairs complaint and a Iowa Civil Rights Commission complaint, if that's what they wanted to do. If they don't want to file a complaint, but they would like to have their issue addressed, they can ask that we contact Paul to have him review, whatever the issue is. I'm not sure what the mayor's suggestion would do other than create confusion for people, because I don't know that the commissioners would independently have the knowledge to investigate a complaint or the resources to investigate a complaint, issue a determination, and have that without disclosing that person's identity, and then it be kind of in accordance with the law. So the complaints are currently filed with the Iowa Civil Rights Commission. So is the mayor saying that that's somehow deficient?
I think the mayor is saying, what the mayor is saying is that, well, first of all, let me ask you this question even before I say what the mayor is saying. How many complaints, such complaints, are filed, have been filed with the Iowa Civil Rights Commission, and how many have produced results?
The mayor would have to give you that information. We don't. The complaints are confidential with the Iowa Civil Rights Commission, the same way they would be for our office. So the Iowa Civil Rights Commission would not give us that information. But the mayor would have that information.
Well, it would appear that since the mayor says it would carry more weight if the complaint came from us, that it doesn't carry much weight if it comes from the Iowa Civil Rights Commission. It would appear that's what it would appear to be. He would, yeah, and that probably has to do with the local connection. that if we carry the credibility.
Considering that they ignore us when we give them complaints, I doubt that there is credibility there. I think it's more so of a way of ignoring complaints that people are submitting. To be honest with you.
When I think about what information is come from that department in terms of this Civil Rights Commission that was in the newspaper, a couple of months ago, it's hard for me to understand how it would be thought that it would be have more impact or more readily received if it came from us. I'm having a hard time understanding that.
Because we are a community voice, and if they're not giving ear to the complaints that are been filed against our police officers, that have been passed on to them from our commission, the community, then there's more community accountability. The community would know that we have submitted complaints about this, that, and the other thing, and nothing has been done about it.
Henry, can I make a proposal that we table this one until after we have a conversation with the mayor and the city administrator about the communications and harassment and things of that nature? Can we table this until next?
I need to shut off my phone. Okay.
Can we table this until next month? Because I think this year also, if we need to have a discussion in terms of the relationship issue that we currently now have with the city staff that is at a minimum at a toxic level. And so I think that we need to probably try to straighten that piece out and stuff before that we can probably go into a different angle, or we can consider what course of action should be taken. So I think we should table this one until after we have a conversation with the city administrator and the mayor.
Well, I'm not averse to your recommendation, Michael.
But that's okay. You're entitled to your opinion. And,
I said I'm not adverse.
Oh.
Not adverse to your recommendation, Michael. I just think that we can't just throw out recommendations and then do nothing about them, and not be willing to be part of the solution, as opposed to just the critics of the system.
The only thing, Henry, is that, with the relationship being now probably little to none, and then we expect to work complaints on the behalf of the citizens of this community and get something done in a timely fashion. That's just asking a little bit too much. And then we ought to have an understanding from the key people in the city that we're going to have cooperation to get something done if we take something on in this particular magnitude.
Well, Michael, if you make that into a motion and somebody seconds it, I will vote for it. Okay?
I move that we table this here police and reform proposal to next month until after we have a communication or meeting with the mayor and the city administrator.
Second.
I second it.
Any further discussion? Then let's vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes above the nose. Okay. So let us move on to our next topic, Commissioner Communication and Harassment. We've heard from Ethelene and Janelle's subcommittee. Mike, why don't you talk about the subcommittee in dealing with the issues with the city and harassment?
Okay, because of travel and other things that was going on that was eating my lunch, I was not able to schedule a meeting. Neither did I make the telephone call to the city, but to schedule a meeting. But I did have a conversation with the city administrator on Friday of last week.
Mike?
We'll go out today and hopefully.
Mike, can you step back? You were frozen for a little bit. You said you had a meeting with the city administrator last week.
Yeah, my internet is unstable. It just flashed up here, but yeah, I didn't have a meeting with her, but I did have a discussion, an informal discussion with her, regards to a meeting with her and the mayor so that we could discuss this. I need to send a formal email to both of them to schedule one, and because of my schedule over the last month of more than 2 weeks out of town, I was not able to get that done. So I will shoot that email out today to get it scheduled, and as well as you, Jeff, and myself still have to meet as well, and I want to get that done, and I want to try to nail that down before we go over and talk to the mayor and the administrator.
So the three of us will have to meet with Latrice.
Exactly. That's the one that needs to take place prior to we setting up this next meeting.
Okay.
And so based upon the communication that I got back from you guys, don't look like that's going to happen this week. So we'll try to reschedule that for next week and stuff, and so that I can go ahead and once I get the meeting with us and the director set up, I'll get the meeting scheduled with the mayor and the city administrator based upon their schedules.
Okay. All right. Any questions? Any discussion? Okay, there's nothing to vote on here. So now we come into our section of the meeting in which we invite public comment. So I'm going to ask Latrice to moderate the public comment by inviting people who wish to speak to raise their hand in their Zoom, and Latrice will call upon them.
Hi, yes, Dan Audie, Davenport, D21. It's, I don't know, maybe a clarification or a question. So when a complaint comes into the Civil Rights Department, it has to go to the state civil rights body. Can also the mayor, like, just move right to the talking to the chief of police, and the chief of police talking to his direct reports to kind of like resolve it? Just a question. Thank you.
Yes, that is something that can be done. They receive a copy of the complaint when it's filed, and they could review it in that manner.
Okay. Who's next, Latrice?
It looks like Athena Gilbreth has, I'm trying to, is it giving you the option to unmute? Uh-oh.
Nope, but I can unmute by myself.
Sorry.
Thanks. No, no worries. No worries. Thanks. Hi, this is Athena Gilbreth. I live in B14. Just wanted to, a point of clarification, Rabbi Karp, back when there was a police reform discussion on Zoom, I believe that was, what, March of this year? Yes, it was in the middle of the, no, gosh, that was last year, I think. Either way, when the mayor had that in the city hall, that was for the public to come to, I think he was a little worried there that perhaps this was going, the discussion was going to be an attack on police. It was not, obviously, if you had attended. It was for others to essentially talk about why they supported the police. Not a huge deal, but wanted to make sure that point of clarification was on record. It was not because of us living in the middle of a pandemic. The other point I wanted to make, because this is the Civil Rights Commission, you know, I've been attending these meetings for the last couple of years. It's been more accessible to me actually having them on Zoom because I do work during the day. Luckily, I get to have a bit of a quiet time at this moment in my job because I do a daycare preschool. I'm concerned as a citizen, and I know that you all know that I'm a candidate for mayor as well as very active in my community as an activist. But, you know, I just have to say, for this being the Civil Rights Commission, I'm really concerned about the fact that it seems as though we are a little, and when I say we, I mean you, as a commission, a little unprepared to talk about what civil rights actually are. Seems to me that there is some opinion on what is and what is not harassment, some opinion on what is and what is not racism, prejudice, and implicit bias. And I'm concerned about that because, you know, I live here too. This is my community. I am a mixed race Black woman. My children are Black, and I can't trust a community whose Civil Rights Commission is I guess uninformed when it comes to actual civil rights. So I guess my suggestion would be to, before you, I don't know, step forward as being the voice of the community, I would suggest that civil rights actually be taught to yourselves as a commission. I know some of you are a little bit more well-adept when it comes to, well-adept to civil rights than others, but I would like to see this commission as a whole understand the meaning and the differences between what actually is civil rights, what is social justice, and what is not. And then again, too, as far as your harassment complaints, you know, I just have to point out once again that disagreeing that the director doesn't deserve her step increase, this is just another example of that harassment that we are seeing on a monthly basis when we attend these meetings, and they are brought to, of course, the same two people who are constantly, from what I can tell, harassing the director, which would be Commissioner Pecora and, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce her last name, but Ruby. So, you know, the information is publicly available online where they have Director Lacey at a lower rate as far as the city's pay scale is concerned. And so, again, I would just suggest being better prepared when you come to these meetings because it is a waste of our time to listen to you constantly go over why she should or why she should not be involved in her step increase when everyone from the city administrator to the janitor on the first floor constantly getting their pay increases. Let's not participate in this harassment any further. Let's do the job that you are committed to do, being in the CRC, and let's actually advocate for the people rather than advocating for yourself. Thanks so much.
Patrice, is there anybody else who wishes to make a public comment?
I don't see anyone. I did want to mention that for next month, we're going to add the ICRC contract on there, on the agenda. So if anybody has any questions about that, they could email me before the meeting.
Well, that's a good point, Latrice, and we might as well also ask, is there anyone else who wants to add specific items to next month's agenda so that it to be discussed?
Should I add, I'll be attending the ADA conference in Phoenix in 2 weeks. Hopefully to get, training and information that will prove helpful in what I do with the commission. Should I be put on the agenda to make a report for next month or not?
I think it would be good to hear what you learned at that conference.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? Then I exercise I welcome a motion to
I so move.
adjourn. Yeah, anybody second that motion?
I'll second if nobody.
Okay, all in favor of adjournment? Aye?
Aye. The next
Okay.
meeting is August 10th.
Okay, the second Tuesday at noon.
Yes.
All right,
Have
so
a good day, guys.
have a
Take
good
care.
day and take care. And if we don't see you before, we'll see you on August 10th.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
I know.